The CW has been doing some amazing things with the DC Comics universe. First, we saw Arrow, and now The Flash, and things are only looking up from here. You may not have seen many of these actors in too many television shows before their work with the CW, but these guys are uber talented. But did you know that many of the stars didn't originally audition for the roles they play now? Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos. Grant Gustin. It goes without saying that Grant Gustin is the star of the show. He plays the main character Barry Allen, aka The Flash. When the show first premiered, many viewers were wondering if the CW made the correct choice when they asked Grant to take on such an important role. When we look back at The Flash throughout history, it's clear to see that he has always been a somewhat older character with a lot of experience under his belt, though Grant doesn't really fit this bill. Even with all of this in mind, I think it's pretty clear to see that Grant has really come around in the last few seasons, and he definitely has what it takes to play such a major role. Even though he may have been hard to accept into the DC Comics universe to start with, I think I speak for most of us when I say we wouldn't have it any other way. Even though Grant now plays a very convincing version of The Flash, he didn't originally want the role. When casting was announced in the mid-2010s, Grant showed up to the audition for the role of Roy Harper. We know he did very well at the auditions, but he wasn't given the role. Obviously, Colton Haynes had the leg up on this one, but the casting department offered Grant a much more important role, even though filming wouldn't begin until more than a year later.
What is going on here?
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. This was not supposed to happen. The trank dart that Caitlin made was supposed to last a lot longer.
Barry Allen auditions. Though throughout all of this, the casting department still held nationwide auditions for the role of The Flash. What's very interesting about this is how several of the actors who auditioned for the show were cast, but they were each cast as vastly different characters than who they originally auditioned to be. One great example of this is Andy Mientus. We know Andy was eventually given the role of Hartley Rathaway, better known as Pied Piper. This seemed to be a role he was born to play, but he initially auditioned for the role of The Flash, competing with both Grant Gustin and Jeremy Jordan for the role. It doesn't seem like Andy made it very far in auditions before he was cut. By this point, it seems like the team had already likely decided on Grant Gustin for this role. However, Andy did get a call back from the team. Andy spoke in an interview and said, "I got great feedback that said he's not quite the right fit for Barry, but we really like him. He's really interesting, maybe there's something down the pike." It wouldn't be long before he would hear from the CW once again. This time, Andy said he was given a few script examples for Hartley Hathaway and was asked to give his thoughts on them. He said, "When I read it, I saw that it was maybe a good fit for me, and I just really liked it. It was a character that I wanted to see and knew I would enjoy as a viewer. So it was then somebody that I wanted to embody. I'm really glad it worked out." When Jeremy Jordan auditioned for the role of The Flash, it seems like the casting department gave him a hard pass right from the get-go. Though it would be difficult to assume that this was because he was a bad fit for the role, rather, they probably didn't want to cast someone who had already played a fairly major role in Supergirl. If they did, any hope of a crossover between the two shows would be very difficult. Jeremy plays Win Scott in the series, so casting him for The Flash as well would have been a crazy move for the network. Entertainment Weekly spoke about the show and says that according to the casting department, Grant Gustin was the first and only person David Rappaport, the director, wanted for the role. Grant had an energy and a vibe that none of the other actors could match. The director called Grant in to audition alongside Emily Bett Rickards, who plays Felicity Smoke, and the two got along amazingly well. Shortly before Grant was called in, there were reports that many other popular actors had wanted to play The Flash as well. We don't know for sure who all auditioned. We can assume it was likely thousands of people, but there have been rumors that actors like Justin Hartley, Michael Rosenbaum, Gabrielle Mann, and Devon Sawa had all auditioned for the part. It would be a safe bet that Justin Hartley would have done an amazing job as The Flash, but he was most likely ruled out for the same reason as Jeremy Jordan. At this point, Justin Hartley had already been a part of the DC Universe as well. In fact, he had a pretty major role in the series Smallville. He took on the role of Green Arrow, meaning fans would have recognized him from the start. This obviously would not have worked out in the end, so it makes sense that they continued to accept auditions until they landed on Grant Gustin.
I saw you write it.
No, you didn't.
I thought I did. I was about to.
Oliver Queen. It's so amazing to see how the CW has crossover episodes with so many of the DC series. And the Green Arrow crossover was no different. It seems like director David Rappaport had a great idea of what he wanted out of the series from the very beginning. David spoke with BuzzFeed and Entertainment Weekly about being hired on as a director for the series. He was brought in long before any of the castings had been done, so he was there from ground zero. He says that once he was given the script for the series, he knew exactly who he wanted to play Oliver Queen, Stephen Amell. We don't know what drew him to Stephen in particular, but he felt so confident that Stephen would be perfect for the part that he brought his photo to work with him on the first day of casting. He showed his photo and his story with the other members of the casting department, and it seems like everyone was on board. Naturally, they still had to let a few other actors audition for the role to begin with, but Stephen was essentially guaranteed the role from the start.
But I'm here now, though, so...
Great. Who the hell are you?
And do your parents know that you're here? I'm Barry Allen.
Melissa Benoist. Supergirl has been an amazing show of its own, but Melissa Benoist did an amazing job when she appeared in the crossover episodes of The Flash as well. This may be a bit surprising, but did you know casting departments will sometimes use major actors or actresses as inspiration when hiring a lower-profile actress? For example, with director David Rappaport working on hiring a young female actress for the role of Supergirl, he specifically wanted someone with the energy and vibe of Jennifer Lawrence. The CW could obviously not afford to hire Jennifer Lawrence to star in the series, so they opted to go with Melissa Benoist instead. David remembered Melissa when hiring for Supergirl, as she had auditioned for 2 of his other shows in the past, one for Arrow and once for an MTV pilot he had been working on. He had a very specific image in mind when he was crafting the series and felt that Melissa fit the bill perfectly. She had a youthful energy and a quirky personality, making her an amazing choice for joining the DC universe. Melissa may not be a permanent member of the Flash's cast, but she has made several amazing appearances throughout the series, really tying the CW-DC Comics universe together. It must have been an amazing compliment for her to have been compared to a legendary actress like Jennifer Lawrence.
Guess I'm faster than I thought.
Yes, but Who are you?
I'm the Flash.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos.